he has made movies like, how many of you have seen Men in Black? Okay, he did all the special effects. How many of you have seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? 1 or 2? He's done both of those. How many of you have seen Inspector Gadget? Okay, he's done at least a video for Michael Jackson before he passed away. How many of you have heard of Michael Jackson? Well, I hope so. I had a couple of kids that know. I've never heard of him. So Mr. Chesney, when Tabitha finishes up talking, is going to talk to you about making movies and special effects. He was nominated for an Oscar for one of his things. Silly. Mr. Chesney. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Tabitha. She's going to visit with you. And then you're going to get a chance to talk to Mr. Chesney. So here's what I need you 5th graders to do. I love you, but if you've got something in your hand that you're doing this with, that needs to stop. Because he can see everything you're doing. And we really wanted to show what a great group of kids are. And you're doing a great job.
And we're excited about books from the book fair, but let's go ahead and put them up for now.
So you guys can start by saying hi to him and hi to Tabitha.
Hi.
Tabitha. Okay.
Whoa, you guys have a book right there? Awesome.
Yeah, he just showed me a picture of y'all.
That is way cool. Alright guys, I'm Tabitha. It's nice to meet y'all. Thank you for letting me come and hang out with you guys this morning. I can see you guys got some books. I saw some Guardian of the Galaxy. That's way cool stuff. What do? I act and I produce. So what does that mean? Those are big words. So sometimes I'm in front of the camera. What do you think that means? What do you think acting means?
It means doing a part in front of the camera.
Absolutely. Could it also be on stage in theater?
Yeah.
What about in front of the video cameras? Could it be in
It
front
could
of
be
video cameras?
anywhere.
Wait, what about your phones? Could it be acting phones? Right, exactly. Who knows what producing is? Raise your hand if you think you have an idea of what producing means.
You're behind the camera helping to make the video.
Yes, what's your name?
Carlos.
Carlos, awesome. All right, Carlos is exactly right. So sometimes we're out in what they call the field and we're helping to arrange things and tell a person to go that way and tell a person to sign this and saying, everybody now go to lunch and come back quickly because we got more stuff to do. Or sometimes we find ideas. We find scripts. Somebody's written something. And we take that and we say, you know, this is going to be really cool. And I think it's going to do well on film or on the internet or on TV or on the stage. So I get to kind of help out in that process too as a producer. And sometimes I do it in the entertainment industry. Sometimes I do it for big companies and broadcast media. So I get to work in both. As an actress, I get to work on all of those. All of those, from commercials to TV to stage, film, and even sometimes we get to jump into video game stuff. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. All right, so I got my start here in Dallas, Fort Worth, just like you guys. I moved out to LA about 5 years ago because in LA, it's like the NFL. How many of you guys like football? So we're a team sport too. We're very much a team sport. We're like soccer. We're like the Dallas Cowboys in a sense. We're like baseball. We're like hockey. We're even like your UFC, MMA stuff. They have teams. They just don't all fight at the same time, right? We're very much the same way. We all work together to accomplish a goal and to create something. And then that's something that we create, that creative idea, after using our imagination and our intelligence, our brains, our math, our English, all those cool skills. We get to share them with people. And again, we share them on the big screen. We share them on your iPhone or your Android phone. We share them on your Xbox 360 or Xbox One or PlayStation 4. Or we share them on your YouTube channel or Netflix.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me, Kaden.
All right, guys. So I started when I was y'all's age. I was told that I could do this thing called acting and you could have it as a job. I was like, whoa, that's totally cool. After I got interested in being producing, because I had to help put together a little play for a class, and the whole school saw it, and my teacher came up and said, that's acting, and that's pretty wicked, and you can do that. You can do that for a living. So then ever since I was 9 years old, and I knew what it was called, I made it my goal to participate in that industry in some way, shape, or form. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. Okay? Any questions for me? Who has questions? Let's see. Gentleman in the back.
Your voice sounds familiar from a TV show.
Maybe. I've done some stuff. Yes, ma'am.
What was the biggest movie you acted?
The biggest movie I've acted in so far is a movie called Red Ridge. It was a movie you probably have to see with your parents. It was a horror film. If you're a little horror, I had a little part in it. It's pretty cool. It's awesome. It was made here in Texas. So we have a lot of those shows made here in Texas. Pretty cool. Sarah in the back in the orange shirt.
Who's the most famous person you've met, probably?
I've met a few famous people, but for parents, probably Kiefer Sutherland from 24. I've met him. He's a very sweet guy. For local here, I'm acquainted with a lot of the talent that come out of here. Well, I'd say a lot, but a few. So, acquainted with them. I don't want to name drop, but a couple people are going to see on some TV shows coming up. And as far as like actually known, like been in an acting class with and known and like had coffee with, some people you've seen on some MTV shows and some ABC shows and some CBS and all the major channels, TNT, some cool stuff. Some really cool stuff. Yes, sir?
What's the biggest game you've made?
Biggest game I've made? Well, it was for a company, so I can't talk too much about it because they have me sign these documents and they say, hey, you can't tell people about it. But it was pretty cool. You have to click on stuff and work through stuff. And then if you click a button just right, a video will play. So, pretty cool stuff. Yes? What about it? I've done some stuff for MTV Press, which is a Spanish MTV. I have, yeah. They're very cool. They're very supportive of creative projects and such. Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question, and then we're going to go to Mr. Chesney. The young lady in the awesome Shrek shirt, because Shrek is a wonderful movie.
What was the very first movie you ever worked on, or TV show?
Very first TV show I've ever worked on?
Or movie?
Oh, good Lord. I don't think I can say that one. The very first show I've ever, TV show as an actress I've ever worked on, the first thing I did was what they call an industrial. I was about your age, well no, maybe slightly older, so probably about in the 8th or 9th grade. And it dealt with kids getting in trouble. And the first big TV show I worked on was something for Bravo. And I got to help out in the casting department. So that was a crew thing. So that's where I was participating behind the camera. And they were shooting here locally. That was pretty cool. So yeah, that's something you probably have to watch with your parents. All right, so real quick. You guys see this person back here? You see the screen? Yeah. That is a wonderful person that I've had a very fortunate blessing to meet out in LA. He's super awesome. Him, his family, his producing partner. And he gets to do things like this. He creates this stuff. He's a director, he's a producer, and he's one of the top special effects guys in LA and in Georgia, probably in the US. He's a part of the Academy. So how many of you guys know the Oscars?
Oscar Awards.
Okay, so he's what we call one of the members of the Academy. You have to be invited in. It's very prestigious. He's also won a BAFTA, which is the British Oscars. So that's pretty cool. You know, the BAFTA, the British Oscars. It's pretty awesome. All right. So, without ado, Mr. Chesney. Peter Chesney, guys.
Texas, greetings from Georgia. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in my laboratory basement down here with all my crazy stuff. Good.
So, Peter.
The kind of stuff I do is I do weather and rain and explosions and help with monsters and anything that moves in the movie. That's usually what I get to. Anything nobody else wants to do, I get to do. For instance, this drawing right here is a house, right there if you can see it, and they wanted rain in it, but there's no place for the rain to rig. So we rigged it with we rig it with heavy equipment. And these are what we call rain towers, and you would move them around to make rain on the house, but not get in the camera. You didn't want the rain anywhere else. And then we make these things called rain grids. Right there, you can see it up above. And we actually have to design it and then hand make these things. They don't exist. You can't buy them in the store, so you have to make them. And then you get a really big crane to hang it so that you don't see anything but rain in the shot. And then here is the real thing. See, there's the rain bar. That's the rain it's making. And notice you don't see any cranes anywhere. And it takes all this hard work to get the rain to be in the movie. There's my son who works with me. And there's the rain grid. Then, see, these are things we do for when the monsters are in the movie. This was iron number 4. And I'll put down my eyeballs. The monster's not there. They do things like this blue thing. Because you got to break a window, but there's no monster to break it because he's a cartoon, a CGI character. So we have to make that thing fly through so we can break a window like this. And then they'll put the monster in. And then the next part is, this is a room, and he's gone through the window right over there. Here's our camera, and the camera's got to pull back as he sees the animal go by. It's this big piken thing. But the school chairs are in the way, so we have to make it look like he hit the chairs. So my son has a button, and the button pulls a whole bunch of air ramps and pull the cable to pull the chairs. There you go. So we know how to make messes out of schools really quick. But if you notice, there's wires everywhere that does it. That's what the creature's supposed to look like. And so we have to make the creature, the hero's trying to stop the creature, and we use these releases that have little tiny explosions in them that let the wires go. And we lift them up. Each one weighs 100 pounds because we're trying to make it look like the hero. Whoops, wait a second. It stopped. See, this is what you just saw. This is what I get in the beginning as a cartoon. And you have the glass breaker. That whole machine is only for breaking glass. And that's all it does, and then we tear it up and throw it away. And you throw this through the chairs. And then past the chairs. Another angle. Notice the camera has to turn at the same time. It's all very careful. But there's where he's going. And all these hammers hit school lockers to make them stop the monster. See, this guy has telekinetic power, and he's going to make all the metal school lockers come out and stop the monster, because he's the good guy. But he has no real power, so we have to do it. And then back that up a little bit. And then the monster is a real space. So that's my son driving a golf cart with armor on it so he doesn't get hurt. But because there's supposed to be a cartoon monster there, we use this object to bounce the steel off of so that it makes it look real when it happens. But we had 25 hammers that weighed 100 pounds each hitting the back of the school lockers. Make that go like that. And then we covered them up so you didn't see into the next room. because these are fake hallways that we built to look like it was a school. Then we have another scene where he's trying to stop the policeman. And so I made this cartoon just so I could help figure out what we wanted to do. I'm not a very good artist. And we stop it by stopping a police car up in the air. So that describes the action. This is practice. We use this truck to pull this car. So we have a stuntman in here, and he has his foot on a pedal that turns on a hydraulic motor that makes the car stand up on its nose. We get to build lots of interesting things. Let's see. That's where we did the same thing. See, there's the track, the cable, and then we stopped it. You have to do it right in front of the actors, so you have to be very careful and very safe. Then this is where it falls down, because when they throw the car sideways to stop these cars. And then this is a fight that the monster dog and the bad monster are in. They use a dog, but there's no monsters in the shower room, so we have to break the walls from the back. So we hook up all these bars. And see, so it's like the monster hit the wall, but there was no monster. It goes through the wall, so we built a giant steel slider with air cylinders. This thing that weighed 3,000 pounds, we made it in shape. And then we made it go really fast, so we have to stop it. So we dragged bags of sand to make it stop safely so it doesn't break. Then they paint the monster in where that was. There's a lot of work to movie making.
So Peter, would you say there's a lot of math and science and computer skills?
Oh yeah, just like this, we had to make the light bulbs that come out of his hands. You know, like right here, that thing right there, that took a lot of mathematics and machining to figure out these LEDs so they're bright enough. It was so hot we actually had to put water in it so it wouldn't burn his hands.
Whoa. How many of you guys think that you could make stuff like that?
I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of you guys could. How many of you guys are in math class? All of you guys, yeah. So that's kind of the foundation of what you need, strong stuff, to be able to do. This is what Mr. Chesney's been doing. Here, how long have you been in the film industry?
Excuse me.
As long as dinosaurs,
For a long time.
like 30 years.
30 years. Can you tell us your favorite movie that you've done so far?
Oh, I like Raising Arizona a lot. That was fun. Some of Men in Black was fun. Let's see. Yeah, because I got on Men in Black, I got to smash the pickup truck with the meteorite. That was fun because I got to take a big crane and drop a 4,000-pound steel ball onto the car from 90 feet in the air. And it made the truck just collapse on the ground. That was fun. You get to destroy lots of cars and trucks. That was fun.
Wow. So, okay guys, do you guys have any questions for Mr. Chesney? Let's see. Let's start right here.
What's the most famous person you ever met?
The most famous person you've ever met, Mr. Chesney. That's your question.
Well, on Journey 2, we met Rock and all these guys.
The kids like this group of kids like the movie. You want to show maybe some of the
Yeah, we'll show them a little more of this. See, there's a helicopter in the scene and there's a hurricane, so I'm in charge of hurricanes and helicopters. So here it goes. See, there's where the hurricane starts. So now the CGI comes in. As soon as they're in the helicopter, that's my job. Okay, so this is the drawings that I do, decide how we're going to do it, where the cameras go. And then this is the shaker one. This shakes him for the turbulence. Notice the cameraman, we had a loan on my helmet so we didn't bang his head. And then we had to make them all go upside down. So you have to make rain on the windows. And so all the actors had to go upside down. You can't see it very well, but there's the rock is upside down. Vanessa has her hair on the ceiling. They almost got sick. When we stopped it, they were starting to get seasick. Hey, there's your movie makers. Then we have to make fog out on the water. So here we are in Hawaii working on the movie. And over there is my son, and we're running a rope to him because we have to make a tube full of fog because the wind comes from the water. And the water's too rough to put a boat there. So right there is the tube on the rope out there. And we're so close to everything that we actually have to run away from the big waves. These are all the smoke machines. And look, see, here comes a big wave. Run, run. So we get this. But see how it's foggy where he is. And now we're at the mysterious island. And he actually picks up a little blue sandbag there. We have to make all the fog. Michael Caine's pretty famous. And see, they needed gold falling on the actors because you were not allowed to use anything that wasn't organic. So we shot real gold on them using these special tubes that had a vacuum sucker. And right there is pure gold that we're throwing into the air. And you're looking at about $400 worth of gold go up the tube and into the river. So we went through about $3,000 or $4,000 of gold. And then we have to make bumblebees. There's the design for the rigs. And see, they paint the bumblebee on top of the blue, but they still have to move. Everything has to move like the real bumblebee. These are big, heavy weights, so they stay balanced, and the actors can wiggle their own bees a little bit. Then we move them on the floor also. These are special air bearings. And then the camera comes right through. This is, we had to make a bird poop cannon because they get hit by bird poop. So this is a bird poop cannon shooter.
Is it real?
Yeah. See what? There's my son lining it up because they only want to do it once. It's very expensive.
No, they have to make the poo-poo too. You can have them make the poo-poo.
Yeah, we make it all out of stuff that is.
Wow.
Say.
Hey, that's poo-poo.
Say, and then here's how it looks in the movie. We realized that the drips coming off of it are too burn too easy, so it had to be computer. So we have to do rain and earthquakes. So this is an earthquake machine and rain on the stage. And those are airbags that we inflate and shake the whole thing. See, and then they put the background in, and then you see them on their little piece getting ready. We also have to do the inside of eggs. See, when he falls in the eggs, See, this is 1,000 pounds of egg goop that we had to make. And then this dumps it right on time.
How do you make it?
No, it's eggs from Rebels.
Yes, lots of ways. This is all held together with magnets so it doesn't hurt the actor. We can put it back together and do it. That's me with my little hat on over in the corner. And then here it goes. See, it has to all be slimy. Then we got in charge of the water. We go from eggs to a water tank. They didn't have a water tank big enough. So this is the drawing. I said, you really want to make it this big? And they said, yes. So we started making a big, giant pool. So this is taking big pieces of steel and welding them all together to make a giant water tank. We even had windows in it so you could see. We had to work people all night long because we had to make it in a hurry. There it is on the stage. And then we filled it up with water and painted it white. Painted it green on the inside so you could put the electric eel in it. Those are giant water pumps, and those are heaters to heat it all. It had to be very warm. There's part of the crane. Underwater platform, and there's the underwater submarine right there. That's the Nautilus submarine. This shows you how big it is. There's a guy with a camera swimming across. And we had to heat the whole thing up to bathtub temperature. You can see it's all green with dots in it. And then there's the rock. And the camera goes underwater. So that's part of the camera thing. And then they're looking at a video so they know what the actor's doing. There's the director. And there's the rock in his Jules Verne scuba helmet. And then there's another scene where we're inside the submarine, and the water has to come out of the inside of the submarine when they first get in it, like an airlock. So what we did is, instead of taking the water out of the movie set, we took the movie set out of the water. There's my son who's working again. So you go down into the submarine and hit a button, and it's supposed to fill up with air. So we just hit the button. Here comes the air. But what you do is you lift it up so it looks like the water drains out. You see over here is the pool. And then that's the actors doing it. There's the rock. This is what it looks like underwater while it goes up. And we even do wire flying. So he's being chased by the monster, he steps on the log and flips, and there's all the wires that carry him up in the air so he can't get hurt. And then he lands on rubber pads over there. So that's movie business in that part of the world. I see questions.
All right, let's see. You can leave right here. What's your question?
How did it make it, like on Journey 2, I watched it, how did they activate the submarine?
How do they activate the submarine?
Did they use a electric eel to activate it?
Well,
Go ahead.
in the story, it's the original submarine, and then you had old batteries in it. And they had just enough batteries to turn the air on, to get the air inside. And then they used the electric eel to charge the batteries by biting on the wire. That's in the story. And then in the real movie, in the real world, we just have to make it come alive a part at a time.
All right, sir.
Yeah, we had lots of stuff to do. We had 7 Inspector Gadget mobiles. When they crashed the Inspector Gadget mobile into the armored car, the candy machine gets broken and 1,000 pounds of Skittles comes out and fills up the car. We had trouble with the Skittles suppliers sent us. Here, let's see if I can find some pictures of Inspector Gadget stuff. I have lots of stuff in my computer. Let's see here. Conan, Bill and Ted's Missing Texas. Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget. Let's see. We had to make the jet-powered car. That thing was fun to make. And we also had to make it drive. This is the Gadget Mobile right there. This is what it looks like. See? And we had to make all the little robots. See, here's the eyeballs that had windshield wipers when it started to cry. And the computer that helped run the car, we had a boxing glove that would come out and hit you in the head. But you have to make all this stuff. This is the mold to make the flexible bumpers. We put an engine in the back of the car and then the stuntman would drive from inside because the actors weren't driving. So we had to hide the stunt guy inside the car like that and put the motor in the trunk, so we take that motor, which had lots of horsepower, made the parts to hold the wheels on extra strong, and then put the engine in the trunk instead of in the front and make it. And these are old cars, you had to fix them up as you go. One of the harder things was the police lights actually came out of the fender right there. That was really hard. They didn't want to do that. And see, there's the Skittles. We had to make one that could hit this car and smash it, not hurt Inspector Gadget. And then all the Skittles came out, but we had every bag of Skittles only had 15. They were Halloween size, and they're supposed to be really big bags, like shopping bags. Instead, they came out, and the bags were this big, and so everybody had to open all the bags. So we had 20 people opening the Skittle bags for 2 hours, trying to hurry up. And if you have a trash can full of Skittles, it really smells like a lot of sweet stuff. We had a big flame engine on the back of Inspector Gadget. And let's see, there's the flame ring. And there was a tank that would smash open doors. There's the engine in the back seat. Then we had a claw-grabbing robot, which you had to make every bit of that. And then there's the tank that would smash the door breaker, weighed 250 pounds. And then there's a scout robot that would run around, all radio controlled. And then we had to have Inspector Gadget's car go 30 feet up in the air when he blows it up himself accidentally. And there's the air cannons that make the pressure to make it go up, and that's it flying in the air. Then we even had to control the helicopters and put people in the helicopter, but make sure that the helicopter didn't fly. And we even got to do the blue goo cannon, so my secretary got gooed with the blue goo as a test. Let's see. Said to make this car. This was practice, though 30 years, and they said it was too much fire, so we did the other one with less fire. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, this one doesn't work. It's cold. See, there's your Skittles going in. Driver put it upside down on the car so to make the car seat go upside down. And there's the claws for we made rollerblades that had a motor on. We get very busy making stuff. There's a lot of work, like we're making new parts for the car.
by any chance have any of your stuff from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah.
Can we see some of that?
Yep.
How are you going to see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Me?
I was going to show you then how we shrunk the kids.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay. 1 second. Bring it up over here.
Yeah, middle.
Click. We did this show in Mexico City. Yeah, the whole movie was done in Mexico. They had lots of really nice Mexicans on my movie crew. So what we had to do is, that's actually in Mexico. It's on the Churubusco stage in Mexico City. And we had to make the goo, there's a dead ant. And we had to do all the explosions from the raindrops. See that? Those are air cannons underground that are throwing up the super goo reactors to run through. It was so slippery we had to glue sandpaper to their sneakers so they wouldn't fall in. We also did the ant. And then that's a giant Cheerio with baked milk in a big tank. And there's the dog and the spoon. Let's see. What else do we have on this?
Quiet.
Then we also did the next movie, which is Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, where we have a 110-foot kid. We had to make the shrinking cannon, which was bigger this time. When he shrinks, makes the baby get big instead of small. We had to make giant sneakers in Las Vegas. Let's blow that up. So, these sneakers weighed 1,800 pounds a piece, and we had to use cranes. You can see the crane right there, so we could walk them around. How big they are. We had to make the fabric, like we're making sheep. Then there's a sign that we had to make with a car on the foot. There's the ring to do that. That's made from years ago. And then we had them spin, so we had a car spinning rig, and we tested it with my secretaries in the car. There's the shrinking cannon that we made from the first movie. From the first one. There's a smaller shoe. We have two size shoes. That's the 50-foot baby, and then we have a 110-foot baby. But we even made the bottoms of them. These are dead flies.
What y'all do with the shoes?
They went to Disney World for a long time. That's part of the show.
It's still there. What did you guys do with the skills? You got them?
They went to Disney World, and they put them on display.
Okay, we have some more questions. Let's see. Young lady in the pink shirt.
We have 2 minutes, guys.
Say it again. How do we come up with the movie names? Peter, how do in the film industry, how do you normally come up with the movie names?
Frequently it was done when they did the movie script. You know, sometimes they see the movie when it's done and say nobody knows what that means, and they'll come up with a different name. Name is very important in how you sell the movie.
Pretty cool. Let's see. Who's that young lady in the purple shirt with the feathers? How long does it take you to make a movie?
Usually we make a movie about 1 minute a day. So if it's a 90-minute, if it's an hour-and-a-half movie, it takes 90 days to film it. And then it takes another 8 months of work in post to put that part together.
Wow, that's a lot. So let's see. Young lady with the black glasses.
What's the hardest visual effect you've ever?
What's the hardest special effect you've ever done?
There's all kinds of different parts. Sometimes small stuff is very hard. On the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, we had to make a frog come out of a shirt. But it had to be a real frog, and they picked the wrong place to do it, where it was all stone, so we had to find new things and come up with a new design in less than an hour. Then stuff like this is pretty hard. This was throwing a sea container. What they do is they give me a cartoon that looks like this and say they want to do this. They want to crash this sea container on a car. So then we have to figure that out. So I draw stuff like this. So it takes lots of work to do all these drawings. And then you have to calculate how hard to push. That's the calculation program. And then this is a test. That was a test, but then we have to do driving. It's me right there. But you're trying to be safe because there's people in the cars and you don't want anybody dead. It's a little hard to get this stuff safe. Just to give you a better idea of the physics of it. This is a camera right there. That's a ramp to shake. This truck is actually pulling this truck sideways. There's cameras in this car. See, it just misses the camera. But those are the air cylinders that push it.
Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, guys. I'm sorry, unfortunately, we have no more time for any more questions. But thank you guys for letting us hang out with y'all.
What do we tell Mr. Chesney?
Thank you!
What do we tell Mrs. Russell?